I'm thrilled to introduce Simone Claridge, who is an old-time student of mine and a Qigong practitioner in her own right. Thank you, Simone, for participating in our event today.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me. I am really thrilled also to have the opportunity to showcase a little bit more your work instead of what I'm doing, because I think that's more what your people want to know as well.
I think everybody needs to learn as much as they can. And there are different strokes for different folks. So you experienced some of my training, you experienced some training from Zen Qigong and from some other styles. So this is really cool. And it also gives you perhaps a way to kind of see under which circumstances some particular practices work better for you, and perhaps under other circumstances, some other practices work better for you. So that is something that I would like to dive right into. Well, perhaps you can give us a little bit of an idea about your background and how you got involved with the study of Qigong and similar disciplines in general.
Yeah, that's definitely a really good question. That's how we actually also then found each other, right? So, I mean, initially I contacted you so that we connect with the masters for an interview from the non-medical hospital in China, Master Leo, I guess, right? And Master Yongtang Leo and the other Master Leo. And I personally got into all what I'm doing now more in a natural way because I had some healing, I call it healing experiences as I was younger, which I couldn't explain. But somehow that was initiated in the bottom of my heart. So no matter what I touched, I couldn't deny it. So I tried, so I had a normal upbringing, so to speak. I come from Germany. I tried things like probably everyone else does, going to school, get a profession, and have been successful with that from the outside, but not in the bottom of my heart. So that got me to the point that I say I'm denying something in myself, and I want to know what I experienced, and that got me always in like really being curious in all types of out of the box healing modalities. I naturally have not been into Western medicine, don't know why. Not as a child. I remember my mom wanted to give me medication. I naturally didn't want to have it, right? So
I can tell you that.
Right, that's not cool, right? So, but I do remember how my body did the healing for itself, and I fully trusted that as a child. And I think that's something like, wow, you know, when you remember back, say, wow, it's pretty amazing that you do know, right? And that really got me going. And so at the there have been some major incidents in my life. I said, I really need to know what happened here. And that set me on the go that I finally picked up on medical Qigong. So I started in coming to America. That was a big shift. And then starting medical Qigong after I was situated here a while, and I found out that America offers so much more opportunities. And that was really resonating with me. And in this way, I found Zen Qigong and started that exploration. And then I found you.
Yeah, and obviously you were not standing still since then. You've hit the ground running and started teaching and also doing some coaching programs. Can you tell us about what you've been teaching and what it is that you offer?
Yeah, I mean, this had actually the last 2 years. I had quite a development because I needed to move through some deeper barriers myself, which got me to more of the core what I want to do in life. So before I would say I was more running around the circle. until I really came into the center, right? So I'm really making that movement because I do see a lot of people, they run around and run for the shiny objects, and then you come to like, there we are, right? So I'm more into working with the Qi. Everyone else here in this group probably knows what Qi is, but if we can shorten it or translate that, is probably best explained as life force energy. Using your conscious ability to move it. And you are working also on the physical level, which I liked a lot. But for me, I figured out it was a lot of a coping mechanism to run away from what I knew I need to dive in. So it's my development, it's not everyone's development, but this was helping me. So when I actually was coming to you, I definitely was in a changing state. Changing states are always chaotic, right? So, and I didn't have yet what I'm having now, not yet. So I can definitely say you have been one of the milestones in igniting that, you know, so keep me going on it. I mean, seriously, so kudos to you. I feel very blessed and very happy that we could have that time together. And now I'm having a program where I can hone in on those more, how to use your consciousness in the way that you can really go through the blocks. You can and experience that energetic, that Qi in yourself. You can harmonize with that, and you can really connect with the universal love, and that is actually a state, and that's reminding me of what I experienced, you know. So I know I'm very close to it. I know that's the starting point where my life's actually started. So where I feel it's a kind of awakenings moment for me. And now, even when you feel that's the point, you know, you just need to dive in now. It's still, there's improvement happening, and there's still development happening, and that makes life so beautiful.
Absolutely. So I'm really thrilled to know that you have been developing and discovering your core teachings and core values. And perhaps you can share with us a little bit what those core values are, so that some of the viewers will probably resonate and say, oh, that's what I want. So what would you say your core values are?
Yeah, I mean, really from the bottom of my heart, it's the most people go for healing. I would say for highest potential, for what is innate, it's given to you. So I realized that very early on, I mean, it's actually coming down, you know, so if you want to say so, it's from the highest, even though it's coming not in how I say, from a high level here to here. I mean, it's maybe better said from the finest level. The information from where time and space are one, you know, so it's rippling out, and it has the ability to reflect out. So we have the same ability. We have an innate ability inside, and we can connect with that and do it to however it reflects out our life, our so-called external life. So then we have the ability to say, well, if there's something not right, you know, some people are suffering from disease, some people suffering from issues in the family, relationship issues, some people don't know where they fit in the society. And nowadays, it's very, very intense. There's a lot of people, they don't know who they are and cannot find their own center. They feel often very isolated, even though they're surrounded by people, and that is not necessary. So there are ways out, and it doesn't mean that you have to overload your plate. but it does mean you want to switch from the house that doesn't work for you into a new house that is quite different. And I mean, this is very challenging. That's a challenging situation, and the core for me is not to teach you much more. I do notice that everyone knows what they need when they need it. They just need more encouragement to be themselves in this process. Allow themselves to show up as it is right now. Reality check is a sweet, bitter taste, right? So, but if you don't have it, yeah.
You mentioned that you kind of switch from one house that doesn't work so well for you to another house.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of reminds me of your own process of switching from one house to another. Well, can you elaborate a little bit on that journey of your own, and perhaps how you managed to engender that switch or manifest that transition?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, you started definitely. I mean, you have been a milestone in that sense, because we did make that transition. Where do you want to be in 2 years from now, right? So, and then go backwards. I mean, we had, I think, 10 years plan. And, I was at this moment when we did this, we have been actually driving. I recorded the whole thing. That was so hilarious, so I love you for that. So because I was just not so blocked with my mental capacity, that's number one issue when you're not getting what you want, right? So I was so innocent because I didn't know what would happen. And I mean, when I look back, there have been things where writing down, this needs to happen. I need to get out of that, right? And so actually, you're absolutely right. I did not have my financial stability. I did not have my own family together at this point. I also was in the process of divorce. Divorcing my previous partner was really a really toxic relationship for both of us. So no faults to no one, so it was just not working out. And I needed recovery from that. So I switched definitely from not having anything. I was trying to survive. My son was there, and you have been helping him too.
Right.
So it just kept us really over the surface of the water to breathe, at this moment. And then, I did my practices, and that helped me out to stay in situations where other people might have been running away from. So I stood with it. It took me a while, and I tried to run away, but and at the end, I am now in my own house. It's a very beautiful house. It's a kind of a mansion of our dreams. And I'm living with a man I really dearly love. He cares about me. He makes me laugh. It's more the things that I wanted to experience in my life. I never had that before. Germans are really harsh, so you probably know that. And I mean, what you do is always criticized and not cool and not good enough. And so not happening anymore. And family-wise, even there, there's a lot of things that I didn't know when I raised my kids, and a lot of things you do are not right. You're not right, but you don't know everything. And I had a time with my youngest for 2 years. He was living here, and we had, such a healing time together, where I love him for that. He was my biggest opponent. He clearly said, "Hey, Mom, if you have an issue, take care of yourself." I love that. I love when you did, so don't come to me if you have something. Just take care of it. I loved it. So
that's what we call self-reliance. We teach our children self-reliance, but how can we teach that if we're not a role model of that ourselves?
That's right. He helped me out of that because I tried to like, oh my God, I'm feeling so bad. I did this to you guys. I did this to you guys. You know, I said, son, I mean, there came a moment where I said, okay, Mom, it's enough. Take care of yourself in this way. I don't need that anymore. I'm fine. So it took us a good amount of time, and he is doing so much better now. So all of my boys are now in a really harmonious way, and they're also together, which I don't know from my family. I have a brother, and we don't have really a lot of contact. So I'm loving to see that they do, you know. So yeah, and I'm active online. That's true. I realized in this whole process there are some things a person may need, you know. So I had the issue of like I learned so much and I wanted to share. And pandemic, oh my God, how you do that? And but you cannot unwant a want, right? So it's really difficult. And so I thought, how can I do that? And I just started out to present what I want to share. It's free. People can join or not. They can be interested or not in it. They can comment or not. It doesn't take me away from what I want to do. And I think that's an innocent way to connect with people and just be authentic enough to show up as it is, you know, so.
Well, certainly more authentic than pretending to be somebody who you are not.
Well, I've been successful with that.
Yeah.
You know, steering in the wrong direction, yes.
Yeah, so that authenticity is something that actually helps us experience relaxation. Well, because why? Because if we try to pretend somebody who we aren't, it requires effort. It requires tension. We have to morph ourselves into some other creature other than who we are originally. And so that is one of the main reasons why people hold tension. And if we understand the main reason for tension, then we need to basically decide, do I want to keep holding this tension and experiencing all this energy blockages in my body and keep torturing myself or giving other people grief because I'm pretending to be somebody who I'm not really? And that is essentially how we create our suffering and add more to the suffering of others. Or, as an alternative, we actually learn how to stop creating more suffering or how to stop pretending and how to develop greater authenticity. And that leads to greater relaxation, greater acceptance, and sense of being in the flow. Who wouldn't want that?
Right, that's your program. That's one of your important points. And in the beginning, as I said, there's a lot of material conveyed. You have been very elaborate. You have been very, generous. You have been always, there. So I can say that to all of the people, want to work with you, your future people, and the people who are working with you right now. That's definitely, you are very stable and you are very generous, sharing what you know. So there has been never hold back. There has been, when I had questions or whatever, you have been always available for those things. And really kept me going at this time. So thank you so much for that. Great that I have an opportunity now.
Yeah, and that's something that when you receive this kind of attention and care, then you can offer it to other people. It's hard to offer something to others that you never got yourself. So
you say it, amen.
Well, that's how I also leverage my work. Rather than helping only one person at a time, which I continue doing. I continue working with private coaching clients, but it also helps so much more to work with others who work with people in turn. So that creates a leveraged way of expanding my influence and helping more people all at once. So that's basically something that we're doing even right now in our event at World Tai Chi and Qigong Day. We're basically spreading the good news about these practices and inviting people to come and explore. Speaking of which, Would you share with us a little bit about any particular type of practice or meditation that people who watch our videos would be able to apply to themselves?
Yes, I mean, I'm very pleased and happy to do so. Do it to your centering exercise. You have a practical, very simple, easy to do centering exercise. I'm sure that you have possibilities to share that. I was thinking, how can I add something that would fit that? And so I actually have two things that I would like to share. So the first one would be a centering exercise that you can do when you wake up in the morning, just to give your day a very good centered beginning, or whenever you want to do it. And it is belongs to more the visualization area, so where you use active visualization. And the beauty on that, it's very sweet and it's very short. So consciousness does not, or say the universal consciousness doesn't need a lot of breaks in order to come through, right? So it just needs to pause for a moment. So
and get out of the way, so to speak.
Right. So what I would like to invite you guys, wherever you are, and hopefully that you are enjoying a relaxed state already, I would like to invite you for this little practice, and we just do it together. And for that, I will go briefly through what we will do, and you will hopefully sit and relax, and you not, Lama. You can stand, right? So as I do too. So wherever you are. So if possible, not while driving, of course. So sit in a very comfortable position and just allow yourself to be a fully present moment where you are, at wherever you are. So take just a deep breath in and breathe out. And just be in the moment where you are and sit comfortably, have the feet flat on the floor, the arms relaxed. And just follow your breath for a moment that pulls you more in. And then give yourself the intention of experimenting with that practice right now. That will give you a centering possibility. And then please close your eyes. So close your eyes. And breathe out. Long, slow exhalation. And short exhalation in through the nose. Long, slow exhalation out. And short in. And then long, slow exhalation out. And short in. And then continue. Just normal breathing. Now see yourself becoming a dot in a center of a circle. See, sense, and feel what happens. Experience it in this moment. Breathe out and open your eyes. So it's a very short, disrupting exercise. The mind might be a little bit startled. What was your experience? Could you easily be the center of the dot, or be the dot in the center? Was it easy for you to do? Was it something more where you didn't want to go in, where you felt resistant to it? Where was your mind a little bit startled about? How do you feel now after doing that? What's your state?
Well, if these questions are for me, I feel very relaxed and centered, and it was quite easy for me to go into the center of the circle, just visualizing it around me, like a bubble, like a three-dimensional sphere.
Nice. Okay. And I mean, you have been right in the center from the beginning. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. So some people will probably have different experiences. That can be also a diagnostic way of seeing where you are in this moment. So if you don't want to go in the center, that could tell you something about who you are at this moment. It may change, right? So, but at this moment, you might be more challenged to try something new, possibly. So, you know, I mean, these practices, they are not made for our conceptual thinking. They are made to allow us to become more agile with opening up for the intuitive part, which I love to work with. So it will come in, and if there are, I mean, I also realize that a lot of people, they might have trouble to visualize. That's totally cool. Also, that can be practiced so that you don't need to rely on the only sense of the visualization. Some people will have a smell or a taste. Some people will have a sense of knowing. It's more about how you feel in this moment. And realizing when you started the practice, how was that? When you ended the practice, that's what you also do quite a lot. When you ended the practice, what was your state at the end of the practice? And since they are not so long, those practices, I do recommend you take them kind of a medicine, like you eat something, right? Take it like an energy pill that you take in the morning to center yourself and see what happens. If you want, you could use that like on a continuous basis for 21 days minimum, but give yourself a break of at least 7 days and continue the cycle of 21 days and give yourself a break of 7 days, not doing anything about it. And yeah, there's so much more to discover. You know, I do like to implement those little things into my programs because we need to be practical. You know, it's not complicated. It's the mind that makes it so complicated. And we want to not add more on the plate. We want to see how we make it easier, right?
Right. I think it was Albert Einstein who said that any idiot can complicate things.
I read this one. That's a good one. I was probably for a long time an idiot, right? Oh my God. All right. And then I had another practice what I would like to do with you guys. It's also not very complicated. I have been working with I have some glasses here. So I have right now, that's a normal glass of water.
Okay.
And I have then another glass of water that's a variation of that practice. But I mean, it's water out of, you can take any water you want to, but this water has structure, as we know, right? So.
Are we talking about tap water?
You can take tap water. I have experimented with that too, because you will experience, as we usually do, what's in the beginning. Then you do the experiment, what's at the end. So there is a difference in the end. So what I'm liking to demonstrate with that little practice here is how much power we do have, and how carefully we want to choose and pick what for thoughts we are thinking. Mm-hmm. We know that Japanese froze water and then experimented with the crystals, giving the sound to the crystals, and the structure of the crystals has been changing. And so that is something that has been already done. But I see a lot of people that have a hard time to really accept love for themselves. They are having a hard time to accept that they start out with something, they're criticizing themselves. And I mean, they might be in a state of chronic condition, of, being not healthy. And it's harder for them to get out of that state. So that would be a little cool practice to learn a little bit more self-love and self-care, as I will describe in a moment and demonstrate, and encourage you to do it at home. Because of when you know how love really feels for you, it's much easier to be it, and it's much easier than to, invite other people into that feeling, that signature feeling of love back into your life. So we all know how love doesn't feel, right? Right? So, and universal love feels quite different than the conditioned love we think of when we have a partner, right? So, or family or so on. That's quite different. And it's extremely powerful. And I really want to experience that with you here together. So get yourself a glass of water and just acknowledge the water. Say, just, well, I take a taste of it that I know. And I encourage you to do the same. So you have a taste of it. So, well, if you need another taste and do that, it's fine, right? Oh, you have your water. Good.
I'm going to pour water into a teacup. Is it okay?
Yeah, absolutely excellent.
All right.
That's
Cheers.
Good. Cheers, right? Yeah. Yeah. Just tasting it how it is, and before we do anything to it, right?
For that.
Okay. Okay, I have a taste, and everyone hopefully too. And then you are allowing yourself to just take the glass. I don't know to just take the glass as it is, and now, like a Trojan horse, think of someone you really love. If you cannot love yourself yet, if you don't know how it feels, but I mean, just think of someone you really love, where you feel something changing your state of being in your body. You feel that change. It opens up, and then just pour that with your hands surrounding the glass into the cup, and just hold that focus. I mean, for beginners, they have no, they cannot focus so well. I encourage you to make it very short. So if we stand here for maybe 2 minutes, that should suffice. If you can then focus better, holding the state of that, how it feels, and pouring this feel, sense, and imagine, or just know it goes into the glass of water, nothing else to do, but just loving your son, your daughter, your mother, your father, your loved one. I show you some other things later, what else you can love, and just hold that feeling. Let it run into, and knowing the water is taking it. The information as well as the chi of it. And when I would start in the beginning with really an alarm clock, see that 2 minutes have passed, and then stop the practice. And just allow yourself to be okay now with the state. And then I would love you to check and taste the water and see if you can feel and sense how much you can feel and sense the difference.
Delightful.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So, well, I mean, for me, I can say, and I did this with my hubby, and I have to say my hubby is, quite an more materialistic person, ground on this planet here, so he's quite open for those practices, but has never done those things. He could taste the difference. he said it feels for him a little bit lighter. I have to say the harshness of it sweetens a little bit. So it's like a texture. It becomes a little bit sweeter in taste even. So I thought that's interesting. So you can, if you even have a hard time to find anything at this moment that you can love, right? What I encourage you to do too, as a second variation of this program, you may see I wrote the word love on this glass. And so pour water in both of the jars. Don't treat this one, take a new one, right? So, and put it out for a while, let it sit for a couple of minutes or a half hour. I don't know how long you want to experiment with that. And taste it in the beginning, then go for an amount of time that, I mean, a minimum of 2 minutes, I would suggest, and then taste it again. And so you can also find your own variations to that. So I have another idea how you can give yourself some love. I have here, I don't know if you see that, one of my favorite teas. Yeah, beauty sleep. I mean, I do not like chamomile by itself that much, but this is chamomile rose tea. It's I don't earn any money from that here, but I do recommend this company, the Republic of Tea. I love what they are doing there and how they do it. And they have, I mean, you just do this here. Oh, I'm in heaven. I'm just in heaven, right? So if you have something or your pet or, you know, you can pour love in and your whole state internally changes. This is what's needed for the water, right? So do this in this way. And you will be, I mean, just amazed how much this really changes. I mean, we are also water to a high degree, right? So it changes who we are at this moment, the structure, and will has an effect on, you know, on your physicality, on your feelings, on your physicality at the end. So I do think those are simple things that can be done. I think in olden days they prayed over the food. Now it makes more sense, right? So it gets more correlation to bless things, to have the intention, and I mean, just give it that signature feeling. As more as you do that, as more you entrench your whole body with, I mean, every cell in your body is starting to lightening up. And that is how you know that universal love is acting with you, because it becomes lighter, it becomes brighter. It is an inner state that can be replicated and can be accessed. So you're working with that, right? So
as a matter of fact, you've seen me eat. Every time I eat, before I eat anything, I don't call it blessing the food, even though most people think that it's the blessing of the food, but actually I connect energetically with the food or any drinks or any substances that I would be ingesting, and actually have the energy resonance check. And not even to change the energy of the food as much as to check whether or not my energy resonates with it, to make an intelligent decision whether or not to consume it. And obviously that can be done not at a table, but at a grocery store. You can actually energetically connect with different types of foods or groceries to make decisions. If your buying decisions are based on energy resonance, I guarantee there are more intelligent decisions than any decisions based on somebody telling you, eat this, don't eat that.
Absolutely correct. So this feels so good. And then go into this emptiness state, right? You can even neutralize that, no problem. So, but I mean, this is more fun. This is a place where I want to be, and you want to be, obviously, because you're doing this since 15 years here in America, right? Or longer.
I was in America since 1995, so
Oh,
I was 25 back then. Now it's been 25 years later, 26.
Wow. So there must be some fun in that, otherwise something that holds us, otherwise we wouldn't do what we are doing. So I really feel blessed to find that as a truth, as a reality, and what's happening and needs to happen more, that we have more possibility to step by step bring that to the people so that they really get an experience. So it's not just a woo-woo thing, it's a real state.
Absolutely. What I would say is that any practice that's based on evidence, it's more intelligent than practice based on faith. So instead of taking something on faith, assuming that somebody knows something and you're just going to follow them and everything's going to be hunky-dory, you actually test it. Some things work better than others. And as we discover for ourselves what works best and do more of those things that work best, then we end up with best results. As you mentioned, you have a program. What's the name of that program? What's the title of it?
Yeah, I call it, as my website is, True Better You program, because of you have been inviting me, and I feel so honored and blessed that we had the time to work with each other. You set me on the path, and I had way now. I would love to offer that program for a very great deal, so to speak, where people don't have to pay so much money to access those information and be a part of the program. The program will be not so long. It is a basic fundamental program, but don't be tricked. If you don't have the basics down, then you cannot play in the sandbox and have fun with it, right? So I will also make this more experiential. So more based on science and experiments that are fitting, for you and me, so to speak. And it's more based that you also have the ability, like you do, a connection where like-minded people can meet, where they are not chewed out for who they are at the moment, and together also encouraged to move through certain changes, because changes are, I have to say, quite scary. Well, after we passed it, we laugh about it, but the person are so entangled with it that you don't usually know. And that's why often people don't want to go through. And then really afterwards, they say, what was that, right? So, but we need to get there. So a community is of importance. People, they understand that. They also see who you are and where you are in your process and can help you to move with that. And then you have other people, they are on the same boat as you are, as well as I am, as well as you are. We are all in the same boat, trying to let go of our attachment to our habitual thinking pattern that pulls us away from what we could have. So that program will be new applied just for you guys here. So for your people on your list, and it will be specifically just for you. So
I appreciate that.
Thank you so much as well.